What is going on, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today we have a new knife here to check out, and this is coming in from Cavol Knives. This will be the first time we've had a Cavol on the channel. We do have a couple of boxes here to get to, but I did take the liberty of getting the knife out of the package just because I wanted to check it out. We have the new Cavol Kage here, and this is a Pakal style design. Now, before we get too far into anything, make sure you let us know what you are carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. Love seeing it. We get more and more every video, and it just gives me the tinglies. So, a couple of tidbits on Cavol. They were started in 2023. The owner of Cavol, however, has been in the knife and tool game in China since 1994. So he has been either selling or OEMing or both since 1994. So he really has an idea of how things should be machined and how things should be done, right? And hence him starting Cavol Knives. Now, they have quite a catalog already going just in the 2 years that they've been around. They are going to be more in the unique side of things, and they are going to be more on the premium side of things. Like this here, we are looking at a Pakal design in M390. There are a couple different variations of this. We have a PVD coating on that blade with the M390. We are looking at titanium for our handle material and backspacer. We have a hidden lanyard hole down here. We have diamond milling done on the show side and the lock side, and it has this really cool gold trim around the edges, and it really brings the aesthetic out of this knife. And combine that with very minimal hardware. We just have a non-tooled custom pivot, which really adds to the aesthetic. And then we just have one screw down here, and it's almost unnoticeable. It really goes with the flow of the design. And then we have the same thing on the lock side, but we have our tooled pivot here, and then our single Torx down here. We are looking at a steel liner lock. We do have a double chamfer on that liner, which is really cool. So it's double chamfered, almost like 3 steps, and it is chamfered out on the inner side of both sides of the frame. So very easy to get to and disengage. We are looking at a front flipper here for deployment. The detent is tuned very nicely, and the flipper is done very well also. The jimping is ran perfectly, just so enough that it's not overly grippy, but there's no doubt you are not going to miss that if you intend on flipping this thing out. Now, I have noticed that it's definitely more of a reach around or a thumb rollover. As far as the index rollover, you can do it. I would say it depends on the size of your hand. The knife is a little bit smaller, and we'll check the spec on that here in a moment, but it can be done, and depending on the size of your hand and the dexterity of your hand. Now, let's go ahead and check this thing and see what kind of size we are looking at. And from what I know, most Pakal and Hawksbill style blades weren't originally very large knives. And in the case of this, we're looking at the same thing. 2 1/4 of cutting edge, 2 1/2 of total blade, and 5 7/8 overall. Now, for comparison's sake, I wanted to bring out these two knives that we bring out often. The Kaiser Drop Bear, very popular, and the Benchmade Bug Out, very popular. You'll see that those are both a little bit bigger than this knife, and those are both average size knives. But if we compare it to knives that are similar in design, which those are going to typically be smaller, not always, we have the Riken Forever Steel Bakutuk here, and then we have the Shieldin Scythe, and definitely more comparable to the Scythe in size and design. The Bakutuk has a little bit different design and blade shape, but has that similar feel. And here is another Pakal style blade from Kage, and you can see this one's a little bit larger of a design. It's got a lot more going on with it, and although this is a very cool and unique design from Kage, one thing that hinders this knife is it could be extremely comfortable. This is the grip that this is intended to be in right here, so that way the edge is facing inward, right? There are designs that are meant to be edge facing outward, and we'll cover that in a minute. But this pocket clip, it's needed in a sense, but it also hinders the ergonomics of this knife. Not that it makes it painful, it's there and it's noticeable. And that's one thing I've noticed on all these Pakal style designs is the pocket clip is going to be there and it's different than a standard design. And CRKT went around that with the Provoke and recessed the entire clip, and you have to push it to get it out. That's one way to go around it. The other way is to do what Cavol did with the Kage here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I want to show what a hawksbill will look like, or this is a modified version of a hawksbill. A traditional hawksbill, they're smaller, typically with a straight handle or a semi-straight handle, no ring, and not quite as pronounced as this. Now, not always. Sometimes some of them hawkbills were pretty pronounced, but they had a little bit longer leading edge from the choil area, and then they would come down. But this is pretty close. I would say this is a modified hawksbill, but you can see how these blade shapes are similar, but they're very different as well. And same thing with the Provoke here. So out of all these, they all have pretty unique blade shapes, but they are also very utilitarian blade shapes. Now, I wanted to note that this CMB here, this is intended for edge out. I have seen people make the statement that there's no knives intended for that. Well, and that was just something I saw in comment sections, which of course, you all know. It's hard to say what you'll see in comment sections, but there are designs out there intended for edge facing forward. There are designs out there like the Kage where it's meant to be blade inward, no matter which way you're gripping this. And that leads us into our next phase is the Pakal and hawksbill type blades have been around for centuries, hundreds of years, hundreds and hundreds of years. One of the most used and most utilitarian blade shapes is the Pakal. Something that's been used in history for crops, farming, gardening, any agricultural type work, a lot of outdoor work. That's what these were used for. And not only that, but they're great for precision work, whether you need like utility cuts or you're doing certain draw cuts. If you need to be very precise, you got that pinpoint precision with that tip. This curve allows you to stay in material pretty well, I would say, depending on the blade shape and how the geometry is of the blade, but oftentimes pretty easy to stay in a cut. And a lot of people are huge fans of Pakal blades. I have been in many comment sections, whether it's my own or other channels of people raving about these Pakal blades. And some people, that's all they collect. Some people, collect everything, but they intend on getting every Pakal that they see or every hawksbill that they see. And understandably, I see why. They, having had my experiences with plenty of different hawksbills and Pakal style blades, I'm going to keep referring to them because they're both close, right? They're both pretty similar. Kind of like the difference between a sheep's foot and a Warncliffe. Maybe something like that. But one of the extras that come with this knife here is going to be a freaking leather clip slip. And that is awesome. Not only do you get the slip, but it's a clip slip. So, and it's embroidered with their logo. What that does is not only allow you to carry this traditionally, but it keeps the ergonomics of this knife just very good. You don't have anything anywhere digging into your hand. No pocket clip to deal with. It's just very, very comfortable in the grips that it's supposed to be used in. And even if you're using this in a very casual manner, like if you're just doing a quick cut, say it's a box and it's just tape, I mean, just this standard grip right here it still contours to my hand, and it's just very easy to maneuver that pinpoint tip there. So I like this setup a lot, understanding what Cavol was going here for, and I think ergonomics plays a big role in that, because I have felt and seen with these other designs that those pocket clips can get in the way. Now, I don't know how this is intended to go in here. I would think something like that there, maybe. Would that be right? Or would it be this way? Yeah, I bet it. Think it's that way? That way you can just grab it out? Has to be, right? I'll have to check that out. I think that would be the way. Yeah, that's the way it would go. That's a nice little package right there. That's what she said. So very, very well thought out, I would say, from Cavol. And I don't believe this will be the last time we have a Cavol on the channel. I'm going to make sure one way or the other we get to check out some more, whether I go pick them up or not. Now, this was sent in this time by Cavol, so that is always something to keep in mind. But I try not to let that affect me, but it needs to be stated. I almost busted my nail out there. Holy smokes. Another thing that this comes with, I guess I should have just went to the other side maybe. Another thing that this knife comes with, another added goodie, holy smokes, is a hank. And not just any old hank. This is an actual Cavol branded hank. So not just a typical microfiber cloth. This is a very nice microfiber hank. You got the Cavol logo there on the back, and then the big old logo there on the front. And I do like that logo. And that's not where the fun stops. We also have in the main box that the knife comes in some hidden goodies underneath our foam insert here. And let's let them fall out. You get an air freshener with your knife. You get an extra hardware set, including, I believe, the bearings and everything. Yeah. Complete hardware set. Beautiful job. Get a sticky. Another cloth. And I could have swore there was another sticky. And you get a history lesson, I think, on the company and all that sort of thing. So, I mean, that's all that comes in the package when you order a Cavol. And I've seen another unboxing or two of a Cavol knife, and I believe this is a similar setup you're going to get when you get a Cavol knife. They're going to come with a nice array of goodies. And I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but this is some of the coolest packaging that I have seen to date. This is like a little container here. Very, very cool stuff and just very well thought out. And that's something there, right there. If you're in the game long enough, and it's just a matter of if you've bought stuff and cared about what you buy, presentation matters. Is it, it's not the deciding factor. It's not all that, matters or anything like that, but the packaging and what comes with the knife and that sort of thing, it just lets you know that the company cares about their product. It lets you know that they take pride in their product, and that's something I enjoy. So I did want to get a few measurements on this feller here. Let's check our handle thickness. We're looking at 0.51. Our blade stock thickness here is going to be 116. And we'll try to get a behind the edge reading here. And in that particular spot, we're looking at 27 thousandths. But let's see how this thing cuts out of the box. we can get an idea. Paper test is not a be-all, end-all, and this is telephone book paper, but it can give us an idea. And this thing has a beautiful edge on it. All Hawksbill and Pakal style blades are going to have this kind of weird effect with this thin of paper. It's just because of that curve, but that doesn't take away from the sharpness of that edge, and that has a nice sharp edge, especially up here where that tip is, and that thing is going to be a precision monster. So very good edge out of the box. We'll go ahead and get a weight on this thing as well. Not very heavy at all. Not a huge knife either. So let's see what we are looking at. I got yelled at the last time I was guessing, so I guess I'll stop that. With just the knife, it's 2.5 ounces. We add in the clip slip, the leather clip slip, and we go up to 3.3. So not a whole lot of weight added with that slip. A total package of 3.3 ounces or 94 grams. And without the slip, we are looking at 70 grams. So overall, a very lightweight, traditional package here. And that's not the first thing you associate typically with a Pakal style blade, but that's just the fact. Pakals are very traditional blade shapes. It's only been recent history that they have been used as a tactical type blade shape. Can they fill that role? Certainly. They'd be great at poking and slashing type cuts. But to me, knowing everything I know and what I've used these on and how I've used these, I think these in certain scenarios are some of the best you can get depending on what you're doing. So, all that has to be taken into account. Even like the little pinch grip here, the blade flares here, so it's easy as hell to just grab a hold of this thing and really get up on that tip if you needed to. So very well thought out from Cavol. I have to hand it to them. Out of all the Pakal and Hawksbill type blades I've handled, this is the best ergonomically, no question about it. And you can, I believe, reverse flick it. No, it doesn't have a cutout or a hole, but if you have the skill, you can flick it out. But definitely meant to be a front flipper, and at that, it is very good if you stay out of your own way. But yeah, detent is money. Front flipper is designed well with that jimping. It's on ceramic ball bearings, and it is nice and smooth. Even with that lighter, shorter blade, one little tweak, and it's gonna go home. So very nice, very smooth. You guys will have to let me know, what do you think of the Cavol Kage here? And let me know if you have any experience with any Cavol knives, or if you've seen any Cavol knives around in any videos or anything. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the knives, on the company. I always look forward to it. If nothing else, let us know what your EDC is for today. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That helps push this video out there to more people. If you're new to the channel here and you enjoy this type of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, because I release daily videos just like this. I'll put up a couple of new ones on your screen. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.